All right, all right. What's up, everybody? It's your boy, the Bad Wolf, and we've got A6. We
Yes,
just chilling
sir.
in the house. I'm gonna let A6 jump in and say a couple things, and let's get it
Is
going.
you already know what time it is and what rhyme it is. It is the foreign national born natural with A6 live and direct, live in effect with my man Badwolf. Yes, sir. We out here to chop game with you guys. Drop bars upon your skull. Bars upon your skull.
All right, all right. For those of you guys who don't know, A6 is one of my trusted guys right here. So, A6, feel free to drop a link or let them know how they can get a hold of you, find your channel.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. If you want to find me on YouTube, I'm usually always on the Bad Wolf stuff, but it's A-6 underscore grind time. You might have trouble finding it a little bit, but you gotta like scroll down, but it's there. Once more people start to look for it, of course, boom, it'll start to be easier to find. You can also find me on the gram is A6 grind time underscore. And of course, if you would like to donate, is the cash app would be $ Anthony Lawson IA6.
All right, all right. So once again, people, of course, you guys know what I do. A6 has supported me and the Bad Wolf since day one, and so feel free to support him and watch his channel. And as always, if you guys also need a consultation, if for some reason you can't get a hold of me, you can definitely jump over to this man. He's got a lot of knowledge as well. So tonight we are just going to be kind of open floor forum. We're going to be talking about whatever comes to mind. And I'm just going to say right now, we're not going to have no takeovers. So if somebody's a little too long-winded, I'm finna cut you off, bro. I'm just going to say, all
Yeah,
right.
he's referring to my channel. Like usually when I get on my channel, I just let people go off. You know what I mean? Because for me, the more talking you're doing, the less talking I'm doing, and I'm learning and watching. So I don't mind people going off, but my man's like, "Hey, cut that out, knock it off." So I mean, it is what it is.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, sure.
So we're gonna try to answer some of y'all questions. Don't feel bad. Don't feel like we neglected you if we don't get to them, because if this ends up going anything like last time, it's gonna be a lot of questions, and we may not get to all of them. So we'll kind of I guess cherry pick a couple and try to get to them. But if we see you guys, we will definitely, like I said, we're gonna do our best to accommodate. So A6, as always, I got you here as co-admin, so you got all rights reserved in this mug. So if you see something popping up that needs to be addressed or kick somebody off, or if I see it, that's how we're going to roll this. And if you see the comments, just feel free to jump in and answer anybody's comments if you know it. Otherwise, send some shout outs, and we just going to collab on this, bro.
Boom. Yes, sir.
All right, so right out of the box, I see some familiar names. So I want to make sure we say what's up to Uncle, my brother from another mother. Might be the same mother. We don't even know. We're not sure yet. I see the consultant in there with the happy laugh, crying out loud face. I see you over there.
So
Mace Pinker's like he was talking about me last night. I bet maybe a little bit, bro. You still all love though. If that was you, is that your boy?
Yo, he had a different name yesterday.
Okay,
He said the next time he came on, it was gonna be with his tribal name. So maybe that's what it is. But I
okay,
never.
okay.
Hey, he good in my book though, man.
No, no, I'm teasing. You
He
know
be
me.
dropping bars. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I watched the whole thing. I'm just
yeah,
saying. And I even
man.
talking about you. I'm talking about like, especially more so last time when we did this, when we ran it for 2 or 3 hours. And towards the end of mine, the one guy was just like,
He's Harley Cooper. Yeah,
yeah, I was like,
yeah,
bro,
yeah. But you know what?
like,
People were hitting me up in the comment section. It was like, "Yo, he need to have his own channel, such and such." And I'm
that's
like,
what
you
I'm
know.
saying. See that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't take over my channel, and then you got to get your own channel, bro.
Yo said that. Oh, wow, wild dude, man. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Oh no, I love everybody, man. We're just giving you guys a hard time, man.
But of
Um,
course, but of course.
but let's see what else we got. We got some people from here. Hold on, we got see it's already starting to light up. Um, Blair says hi. The Treasury Direct register birth certificate. Have any info on that? Not really. I'm still waiting to hear back from the one lady who said they confirmed all of her information. Um, understand this guy's just for the say so of privacy and security. I don't go deeper than what I show you guys on the videos. That's as far as I want to go. One, I ain't trying to be that guy to draw too much attention to all of this stuff. And then secondly, some people try to do scams and whatever else, and I can't take no chances helping somebody get through and then get popped, and then all of a sudden the channel is just gone or something. You know what I mean? So what's out there is there. All the information is there. The information on how to contact your agent, if you pull up the information correctly, is at the bottom. Talk to them about it, and they'll step you through it. If everything's legit, that's yours, that you came across, you're good to go. Otherwise, I would just recommend going back and watching all the videos. Go to my main YouTube headquarters, and then search. You can search for specific videos by going right to somebody's YouTube main page and using their search window. That'll pull up all the files in just their YouTube. So that's really about it. And then go ahead, Six, if you want to jump in there and do a little something.
I don't have too much information about the TDI, or excuse me, the TD with TDA. I don't have a whole lot about that, honestly. I have heard stories about people using it. There was a guy a long time ago that had done it, and man, this had to have been about like 13 years ago now. But he was into this stuff a lot longer than I was, and I heard about it, and he was using it to like discharge like some bills. But he had noticed when he would discharge the bills, like 3 days later it would kick back. So it would come up, discharged, but then the fee would drop back on. So he was obviously doing something wrong. But like I said, be very careful when you're working with that kind of stuff, because of course certain things you're not supposed to have access to. So if you do, you better know what you're doing. That's what I'm gonna say. As with any of this stuff, you want to hit the pen and paper, and you want to actually read the black and white fine print and make sure you got a full grasp of everything that's going on. Because if not, you might put yourself in something you can't get out of. And that's the worst. That's the worst situation. Then you're hitting up Badwolf, you hitting me up, you hitting up this, that, and the third, trying to get you out of a situation. And we like, yo, we didn't put you in that situation.
Yeah.
The information we just felt is pretty much preventive.
Yeah, the biggest thing with that, guys, is once you pull up the information, don't make demands. Ask educational questions. Okay. And the contact information is their email. You can always ask them, say, hey, I pulled up this information. I want to verify this is mine. And then, see what they have to say. I mean, they're the experts on it. Okay. And all I can say is this is just my friendly advice. It does not hurt to put a couple of bucks into an account with them and then ask them probing questions. Okay. The people who have contacted me and said that they were successful, they open an account and they put some money in there, which shows a good business relationship, and then they ask questions politely. Okay. Because I've heard of some people being rude and some people not doing these steps, and then the person on either the phone or whatever was like, oh, you're trying to scam. So open a business with these people. Okay. Put like 50 bucks in that account. And, you can always pull it out if, you don't want it there or whatever else, but at least it shows that you're doing good business. So other than that, we're going to move on and just kind of say what's up to some people real quick. Blur CR69 from Down Under. What's going on? Antonio from North Carolina. I see you. Bell, I see you over there. Whoop. What's up? Yeah, if you want to scroll through, Six. Brandon Fair Game, I see you. What's going on? Herube from California. What else we got? Free G says, I have discharged medical and utility accounts with the accepted for value method. Yeah, see, the accepted for value method is essentially you giving them the permission to discharge. That's all that really is. And when they have educational information on this entire platform for the entire remainder of the night.
Absolutely. Same here.
All right. Is that you are essentially saying that you are giving them authorization to discharge. Okay. You created your own accepted for value. There's tons of samples of those on Google or whatever else. Once they have your name and your social and your authority, you are telling them you want that to be discharged. Now, obviously, I've never been there to see it done. I have done this years ago in the past. The theory is that they then will either give that to their finance department, and then their finance department will discharge it. The other theory is that they will send it to the Treasury for directly to the attention of the secretary to be discharged. So either way, there's multiple ways. They can even get a discharge from the IRS. The IRS can do what they call a mutual offset, okay, and they can get it back in their taxes. Okay, so there's multiple ways. So thank you for sharing that information. As
Absolutely.
always, if you guys want to reach out to me or A6 and drop some bars or some good knowledge, you want us to share. Obviously, try to make sure that it's validated that you actually did the process, and then we'll try to validate it before we try to share the information. So
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. The whole entire acceptance for value, that's from what I've read, that was originally a part of the secured party. Of course, you could do it anyway because you have Public Law 7310, which was HJR 182, which
yep,
basically gives the people the ability to do such. But the acceptance for value method was actually part of the secured party. That was in the redemption manual. So I had to
yeah.
some reading about that, and it was like setting up the UCC one, and then you write a letter to the I believe it was the Secretary of State, if I'm not mistaken. I think it might have been. So you
Hmm.
no, excuse me. Was it the Secretary? I think it was the Secretary of, no, excuse me. The Treasury.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Treasury. That's what it was. The Treasury.
Uh,
So you want to write that to them pretty much, and you want to like there's a way you can actually write it up so they charge up your account, and then you can use that to discharge debt with the you know CAFE.
okay, let's see what else we got going on here in the comments section. What's up, Brody? Okay, we do. Okay, who is this? We got live simple, live happy. Yep, $80,000 student loan with accepted for value and 2 collection companies swatted away off my collections over a year. All right, I
You gotta
see
love it.
you.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll tell you what I was doing before I even did that, before I even got in abreast to any of this knowledge. What I had learned you could actually do if something was on your credit unfavorable, because none of them really legitimately have a contract pretty much. So
Yeah.
what I would actually do was anything that was on it, I would just go down the list and I would basically dispute it. And then I would put what did I put on there? Dispute it, and then they ask you why. You could basically put reason for other, and then you could put contract was canceled, or you can just put no contract pretty much. And then like slowly each single one of them would drop off. Some of them would go in and what's called updated, which means it's pretty much been on damn near removed, but they don't want to. They're being actually stubborn about taking it completely off your credit score. But a lot of those little ones would just drop completely off for the most part. And the ones that are updated, they usually aren't even visible by any creditors. From what
Yeah,
I've
they all will fall off between 7 and 10 years at worst
Mhm.
case scenario. And before then, if you do challenge your credit or information on there, do not challenge all of them. They're never going to give you a clean wipe, not with your current social and its status. What you have to do is you're going to challenge about 30% of them. Okay, and I would challenge the larger ones and basically say either they didn't, there's no contract, or they didn't get back to you, or you think it's potentially fraud, educational information only, and go about it that way. The next year, do the same thing and kind of go out that way. All right, but we've already talked about multiple ways to get either the domestic EIN or the foreign EIN. Other ways, there's lots of ways to navigate these waters. But to answer your question here, I don't know Don Kilam. I've seen some of his work on YouTube or whatever. And I think we're even connected on Facebook. I think, although I don't have my other account because it was deleted. Um, but
Yeah, with
yeah,
The Doctor Evil joint.
yeah. But if he wants to collaborate, yeah, he can reach out to me or Six, and we can see what's good. I mean, if he's available now, I can put the link on in maybe about an hour and see who we want to allow to come on. Not everybody's going to get a chance at the screen, but we'll see what we can do. Just kind of go from there. So let's see, moving on. Maceo, is a CUSIP number necessary to create a promissory note dealing with a foreclosure? Um, Well, they are the only ones who can issue a CUSIP, as far as I know. I mean, you can create your own number if you're creating notes, and then you're supposed to keep a ledger of that and who you paid and how much and when, according to the UCC. So, yeah, you don't use their numbers. Never use their numbers. if at all. I mean, just no. I'm not even gonna go into it. No, just
Yeah,
no.
yeah, absolutely. That's a rule of thumb for me. Like, you just do your own thing,
It's
especially with the secure party is all about becoming a private banker, pretty much. You know what I mean? So, like, as far as using their stuff, you better be very careful with that.
mm. Go ahead, Six, if you want to field a couple questions. If not,
Oh,
I'll
sure,
jump on it.
absolutely. All right, so my man says very obvious. Ain't no money. Bars. That's as simple as it can get. There's no gold or silver coin. That's what is it? Article 1, Section 10. Is that what it is? I think. Of the Constitution basically states that gold or silver should be coined by the state. And the fact that they don't even make Federal Reserve notes, the Federal Reserve is privately owned. They don't even have that. So like there's literally nothing made by the state. They only use those notes as like pretty much private contractors. So basically, there ain't no money in so many words. 100%. John Bay and Ron March. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not familiar with Ron March himself, but I am familiar with the Jonah Bay. I've watched a few of his videos. I've actually looked at quite a few things he had. I looked into the injunction also. He's got some good information. I have nothing bad to say about it.
Yeah, I don't know Ron Bay. I've seen some of his work.
Yeah,
So
pretty sharp dude, man. Pretty sharp dude, definitely. Some of his I know his presentation on non-citizen national. That was very interesting. What was very interesting to me is when he told people to fill out the DS11 in blue ink. That threw me off.
see that it doesn't throw me off. That's actually well, really, you should do it in red if you really want to be on the point. And
100%.
then red and then blue. I never pushed that because
It
it
says right
does
at the
say
top,
on
black ink. Right. That's
it
what I'm
says
saying.
black
Like,
ink. So it's like you can defy them and do that, but it's kind of like I don't really want to rock the boat too much. I mean, I guess it's coming from somebody who rocks the boat, I guess, but I mean, it clearly says on there, to do it in black. If they let you get away with it, hey, do it. Because back in the old days, they never said nothing about that.
Mhm.
So blue, for those who don't know, represents that you are on the water and doing business, but you're underneath your own jurisdiction and vessel, or your vessel's under your own jurisdiction or private, but you're still willing to do water with other ships on the water or on the waterways and navigating.
Yeah, I read in the Redemption Manual 4.5, blue is actually living soul.
Hmm,
That's pretty much what I had read. It
okay.
says right on the top of the form, print legibly. So I have the Black's Law Dictionary in my hands. So I'm going to look up exactly what that means because that might be one of those things where that one word might change, the whole entire type thing there. So let me see here.
Now, from my reading, it's always been red is the living man on land, and then blue is the you're on your own ship and you're navigating in their jurisdiction because blue is close to the color black. So blue represents the water and you're open for business, but the black, the Jolly Roger, you're essentially in their jurisdiction. So if I had my way, yeah, I would do it in red if I could, or black. And I'll be honest, I don't know if I've ever seen anybody or heard anybody say they got rejected because they did it that way. Nothing on there says it's a penalty if you don't. So all I know is we've been successful getting the status we want using their color, but putting the information down the way we do it. Basically similar to Colonel Wilson, who's a good friend of mine, with Copper Moonshine Stills. We talk at least once a week. And then for those people who want, to try to, I guess, ensure their status is done correctly, they'll add in an explanatory statement of some type, or at least make your own and create your declarations of what you're trying to accomplish and get that. Because I know some people who have followed other people's processes and let's just say they didn't get the status that they wanted, especially after they had their stuff ran or whatever else. So just be careful whose information you're getting out there. Make sure the codes are up to date because some people I noticed are using even some of my old work back when we very, very first started, which had an outdated code on there because that's what it was relevant at the time, years and years ago.
That was
But they
207, right?
Yeah, things. Yeah, yeah.
207. Yeah.
207, and then the 8 USC 1101. I think it was 21 or something like that. It was the old 21A or something was the old outdated code. So, okay, let's see what we got here. We're getting some questions. What do we got here? Okay, we got Bell. That is great. I'm really trying to educate myself on the topic. So one of the things that you guys kind of asked me about, and I'm going to try to set something up either on my website, is some kind of forum where people in different states can kind of, as nationals, meet up, meet through the website or whatever else. Right now, I don't have that set up, but as I guess a workaround would be that if you guys are on Facebook, go to the groups and type in your state and then type in, like California US Nationals and see if that pulls up a group. And if it's not, go ahead and start your own on there and start meeting people in your area. Okay, because that's the only way this is going to survive is in us coming together. We have to make this bigger than us. It's not about me or A6 or whoever else. It is about all of us and making this something that we're on the table. You know what I mean? Like right now, most Americans kind of are under the table and don't even realize their correct status and the severity of some of this information.
I got a question real quick, man. Let me ask you a question real fast. And I've been thinking about this, but I couldn't come to a 100% agreement of what this would do.
Okay.
What do you think about them making Washington, D.C. a state? How would that, what would that affect? I would say that would kind of interfere with the whole state citizen thing. But then that would a lot of things would change. Money, of course, would be one of them. You know what I mean? How'd you tell it? This dude just teleported. Hey, you were in front of the computer and then you teleported like a foot behind. That was super weird. No. But yeah, what do you think that would affect, man?
I actually just did a video on this after researching it, and literally you can find at least 100 or 200 articles by just Googling, what happens if Washington, D.C. becomes a state. And essentially what I got out of it is, and I don't really get into, red and blue, this side, that side, but let's just say that from my interpretation, it definitely would add more seats to one side than the other, or more so, we'll say balance, however you want to look at that. So you're talking about seats in Congress, first of all, and then the people. So here's how they're going to do it. The people who are born after this were to occur would now be U.S. nationals. Okay,
right.
But the way they're proposing it is that there's going to be key buildings that aren't going to be included into the changeover for the state.
Well, that would have to be the embassies then, because they've got like a Taiwanese embassy, Philippines embassy, correct?
Well, there's other buildings there that they happen to meet at.
Of course, those buildings. That's a given.
So
the ones with fences around them right now, right? That's being guarded by the military.
The places that are of business and control will not change, but I think it's only 5 miles now. It used to be 10, but the 5 miles, with all of that, but key buildings where they run operations, would be its own state called, what was it? Washington, D.C. The D.C. was going to stand for, not District of Columbia. Man, I have to look it up, but it's
Democratic City.
Hold on, let me look it up. Go ahead and take some questions or look at it real quick. Otherwise, give me a second.
Absolutely. Let's scroll up a little bit here. Man says, sorry, savings to Suitors Club site is down. Didn't know that. Okay. If you shouldn't use a QSIP number on a promissory note and not use a protected account number such as a federal bank account number, what numbers are appropriate for use? What account does the P in effect? That is not my department, to be honest with you. I don't mess with that.
Okay, so Washington, D.C. would be known would be known as Washington Douglas Commonwealth, named after Frederick Douglass. Is what they have in mind.
Yeah, that's odd.
Mm.
That's odd. But they would have to add another. They would have to add another state though. They couldn't just add one. It would have to be two, right?
So Russell, that's the book. I got that bad boy. I found it at a random search because I've been searching every week, and somebody had it at a thrift shop for $300 versus the 1,200 or whatever it was, 12 or 15, I forgot. But yeah, you basically it's the misconduct book, just like you said. This one says National Lawyers Guild, so that's the full Monty right there.
All right, so the Patriot says the UPU says stay away from red at all costs. See, it's we got to come to an agreement on this because I read, like the Badwolf said, I kind of read that red was the nationality, blue was the living soul, purple was royalty, black is the debtor. That's what I read.
Yeah.
My readings. He says stay away from red at all costs. Of course, purple's royalty, blue
Mm-hmm.
is origin of the bone, which is different, and gold is king's. Like I've never heard of gold being even mentioned in the color of ink.
Yeah, I heard for gold and blue because usually the bonds are on blue paper, blue ink. The only difference is the red. Typically, they use the red with the CUSIP number on the back, and that's
Right.
usually where the living creditor signs. And in the old days, you would prick your finger, rub it over the blood over your thumb, and thumbprint it.
Thumbprint it.
Yeah,
Yep.
and you would make it touch your name. That would be your sign. So, at the end of the day, most of the low-level functionaries aren't going to know what the difference between the colors, and they're just going to be kind of PO'd that you did it in red ink or blue because some of them might be colorblind. So, navigate your ship according to your best belief, and you'll get through it. So,
Yeah, 100%. I use I personally prefer using blue, but you know, if like somebody goddamn annoys me or something like that, and I gotta hit the mail or something, I usually sign it in red.
Heavenly, have you ever got?
Legal notice and demand.
I've heard of the legal notice and demand. I have not used it. I know it does hold a lot of weight, but I haven't used it, so I can't go into that deeper. With I wouldn't be able to tell you anything correctly. I don't know if A6 got anything on it.
Legal notice and demand. I from what I know that the creditor side pretty much, or the sovereign side makes demands and such,
Right.
but not as far as the legal thing goes. I can't say I've ever used it myself. But as far
I
as like the
mean,
demand goes, or declaration or anything like that, that's usually from the creditor side.
I've given them notice, legal, I guess technically legal notices. I just usually call them notices, and I don't really make demands. I was always told you're not supposed to, demand something from them because you're not, they're not in your jurisdiction, you're not in there, so they can't really demand anything per se. You know what I mean? But hey, if you use it and it works, hey, fill me in, send me the file, and tell me how you get down.
Oh yeah, he got a troll up in here, man.
Where are we at?
When you start taking W's, the trolls come out, man. You know how it goes.
Right. Tony Cooper, what's going on, pimping?
What up, Tony? How you feeling, man?
We got
Bill Coles. Yes, sir. What's
Bill
good, Bill? How you
Coles. What's
feeling?
going on, Bill?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
I see Uncle's back around there.
You already know what time it is.
All right, where we got International Bill Exchange, making your own promissory note and filing a UCC 11. That probably meant 1. I don't know about 11. I've never heard of that one.
UCC 11, from what I understand, is when you file a UCC 11, you're actually finding out exactly what that ens legis owes to who. So, like, if you were to file, I've heard of people filing the UCC 11 to find out like what debts are actually owed as opposed to which ones are bullshit. So, like, they'll file it, and it might be like a loan for a house might be on there, and maybe a car loan, maybe, and then like all the other ones pretty much are non-existent. So I've heard of people filing UCC 11s and then writing a letter and sending it to the creditor company saying, "That's weird. I don't see your organization on here as being one that the ens legis even owes," and then they just fall off.
Okay. Known to you. This is so informative to me. COVID got me behind on my mortgage, but I wanted to ask, where do you guys suggest we start to learn? Seems like there's a lot to learn. Okay, so as far as, and I know you really weren't directly asking about this, but as far as being behind, you can always contact the your mortgage company, whoever you're sending your payment to, and see what kind of programs they have. I know there's like a couple of programs right now, but you have to ask them. I know this because I was just digging around in some of my stuff, and you can ask them for like a forbearance. You can ask them for what government programs right now they have to take care of you for COVID. To pay your bills. I know even like I was looking at We Energies, and there's programs that they have that if you can't make a payment, they'll cover 1 month payment for that, your water bill, your blah blah blah. So ask them, and if you're still behind, literally go to usa.gov. Um, they have lots of programs for people behind on payments, rent assistance, and all that stuff. So if you got, don't be ashamed to type in the word free and whatever the heck you need, food, rent, whatever. I do that all the time. I'm always looking to see what's available for free. So now, as far as where to start, there's really no one perfect place to start. It is literally grab a piece, learn that, and then move forward. Now, there might be some spots that will help you if you do them, I guess, more so first. I usually recommend, like filing your UCC1, and then now you've got the number, and now you can put that on a lot of your other different documents and stuff. But between me and Six, just I would say start watching the videos. I mean, like I said, if you go to the main page on either one of our YouTubes, they're in the chronological order from when we put them in. You can just literally start there and read. Otherwise, if you're talking about books, you can get the UCC connection. You can look up books online. The redemption manual; those will cost you about $100.
You could also look up
Um,
creditors and their bonds. That's another good one that can
mhm.
help you. That's another good one. Creditors and their bonds was a real good one. What is it? Invisible contracts. What was the
Yeah.
guy's name? I think his last name was Maxwell, something like that. But Invisible Contracts was a real good one that I had read. Of course, the redemption manual. He already mentioned that. As far as that stuff that can help you goes, that might be as far as the ones I've read that can help you out with that particular situation. I'm literally just starting to get into like discharging and things like that. If it's a situation where you need to go and get some help or something, like, of course, there's definitely programs out there, but just remember, you might run into an issue if you're doing certain things because that is going to be considered a benefit and a privilege. So just remember that. But don't get yourself hung up or caught up or mess your life up trying to become, this guy that's walking around completely sovereign. If you need help, take it.
All right. All right. Let's see here. Whew, we got a number going on here.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. So let's see what we got here. No, I don't know. I don't know that guy. Um, but see, that's also why one of the things where we tell people, don't be so quick to just do everybody's method. Don't be so quick to try to make demands on these people. I don't know what he did, but it's always pertinent to ask open-ended educational questions. But who knows I mean, this could have been something on his personal side, having nothing to do with any of this. So that I don't know. But if he was, one of us on the up and up, and they're just messing with him, then hopefully he gets through it. And you know, peace. Blessings to him. Hopefully that everything works out.
Absolutely. Oh shoot, my bad. I ain't mean to cut you off, dude.
No, you're good.
Seth says, Seth Fletcher says, what if I was forced to give a social security number under duress during a police encounter? Well, that police officer committed a felony. That's 42 United States Code 40888. I can actually probably try to pull that up for you guys so you can look at it, but that's actually a felony. So there's a form you can actually fill out for damages. And the Badwolf and actually both of us have talked about this. Great minds think alike. But both of us have actually talked about this. The what's the form called? One second, let me find it. I just had it in my hand a second ago. But yeah, it's actually a form you can fill out for mishaps, and that would actually be considered one of them. That is not it. I thought that was it. That is not it. But yeah, Jesus, you had to look at Badwolf. So I think it was like maybe 5 or 4 videos ago, but he actually talked about a form you can actually fill out for mishaps, and then you can also put in a complaint. I recommend to his the police chief as well, letting him know the police officer out there committing felonies, because that's again 42 USC 408A8 states it's a felony to ask anyone for a social security number. Interesting thing. It just kind of makes you wonder how these companies are giving people credit loans and stuff like that. How is it that they're asking people for social security numbers and they're giving loans? How are they getting away with that, right?
I would definitely um, contact the chief of police, and I would even CC the attorney general, tell him what occurred, and if you did sign, if you have been watching mine or Six's channel, you know you should always sign it no matter what they tell you, UCC 1-308, period. But then I would also, like I said, contact the chief of police and let them know that, hey, you were forced to sign this under duress. And according to the issuers of the Social Security card, that it is their property and it is a felony for anybody to ask them for that. So you want that to be removed. That's what I would do. I would start there and then tell them if not, then you will go after them for damages, because you don't know what that cop personally could take your number. I've never been asked for a social security
That's
number.
crazy.
They
He can
they
put your
shouldn't even
number
be
on the
doing
deep
that.
web. Yeah, he could put that shit on the dark web.
He
A
could
lot
be
of crap.
using that. He could be using that personal, like, oh, this guy's got a nice car. I'm finna give me a nice car too.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and I don't care. People are like, oh, but he's a police officer. He's got a badge on. That don't mean nothing. There are police officers out there who have murdered, raped, and whatever else. I'm sorry. If you ain't me, I don't know you like that. You know what I mean?
Jeez. Yeah,
So,
that's crazy. It sounds like you just got they tried to shaft you, man. Honestly.
all right. Yeah, we've made some videos on that. We're not going to cover that now. That's too far big of a topic to cover right now. But yeah, we've made some videos on that. You can go to the main channel and search negotiable instruments, or just go on Google and type in sample bill of exchange. And the quick version of this is, don't use any markings on those samples that are somebody else's. Use your own. All right, if you want to go ahead, Six, after this one.
Waiting to get out of their system to start the process. My man said, I signed under duress VC before my signature. You said you got a warrant because of that? That doesn't make any sense. How is you must be in one of those states where they still giving you the ticket to sign before they actually take it to court or set up the court case. But if that's the case, that's very unusual, man.
Yeah.
I've actually read and heard that you should probably go down to the courthouse and get that taken care of. Don't wait for them to come get you, because that's a dishonor. You want to try to stay in honor with all this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Don't sit and wait on it, because then that becomes more solidified. Try to get in there and I don't give away too much right now, but I would I would reach out to all the various parties, chief of police, attorney general, because they can't tell you how you can and cannot sign. But then again, I will also say, I don't know if you were driving or traveling properly, or if the cop
Mm.
overstepped. That's why I don't try to get into too many people's stories and cases and whatever, because there's just too many variables and whatnot. So
I would assume everybody watching here is pretty much not a U.S. citizen. I would assume that, but I could be wrong. But yeah.
oh yeah, we covered that one. I think mine backed up. Go ahead, Six, if you want to take it.
Yeah, so he says, Seth, yes, the under duress without prejudice or all rights reserved is valid under UCC 1308. Yeah, if you look at the code, Uniform Commercial Code 1308, it basically says without prejudice, with acceptance of performance of contract under the preservation of rights, pretty much. So yeah, under duress is good too. If you have some of those police officers, they ain't trying to hear nothing. If they tell you to do something, don't forget they're the ones with the guns and they outnumber you and they will beat your ass. So if they force you to do something
Always.
when they don't have jurisdiction, please remember, I will do so under duress, and that for the record,
Hmm.
basically. So, that's one of those type things you can pretty
And
much bring toward against them later on, but live to fight another day in the
right.
meantime.
Yep. Always stay in honor. Always stay a non-belligerent, non-combatant. Keep your cool. Because everything that you're saying, they should be either having their mics open or they're supposed to put it down in their report. So tell them I'm doing this under duress. But remember, guys, if you're crossing jurisdictions, you got their plates on, but you're traveling with the passport. You're driving. You're operating Caesar's property. Okay, so you're doing what's called alter ego. You're merging the two minds or jurisdictions, and that's where it gets kind of sticky. You're still a U.S. national if you're doing it right, but you're still driving because you have you've got their stuff on. You're wearing U.S. citizen pants, but you want to rock it no shirt. You know what I mean? Like they're looking at you like, we don't really know what's going on here. And if your stuff is still in their system and you didn't do have them close your account or have them delete your information in the system, they're just operating in the jurisdiction by what pieces that are left there that you didn't cover. And this is coming from somebody who did that, and that's why I have these processes.
Hey man,
So
you know what's interesting? Like I was just thinking, man, like all of this stuff pretty much is commercial crimes. Because if it's a case where you get pulled over and you have a license plate, you pay for the license plate pretty much with you're operating in commerce, your insurance you pay for every month. You pretty much paid to get the license. All this stuff falls under the Federal Reserve notes. That's probably how they rank people in their jurisdiction. So if it's a situation where you're not currently, let's say you don't have insurance and you're just basically being responsible if you're traveling and such, and you're not delivering pizzas or something like that and operating commerce, that's out of their jurisdiction. When you move your car out of their jurisdiction and it's not registered, the state doesn't own it anymore. That's what he's basically saying. So you have to know how to be able to separate yourself from that current situation. And please remember, like usually when you talk to these police officers and you're respectful and you explain to them what's happening, you have the right documentation and your personal conveyance, they won't crap on you all the time. You might get one guy who's a complete jerk, but trust me, those guys are pretty much easier to reprimand with paperwork because they were completely in the wrong. The
yeah.
universe always has a way of balancing itself out. Remember that.
Okay, so Supreme Being, Yo James, big fan. Thank you, brother. Wanted to know if being on parole after 20 years in prison affects my move to getting a national status. You want to field that one, Six, or you want me to jump it?
Let me read it again. Hold on. All right, so I actually know somebody who actually I know a few people who are ex-felons pretty much, and they were able to get their passports and such. Now, being it's not a situation where you did something super immoral, and I'm gonna leave that up to your imagination. You shouldn't have a problem getting a passport and such in a book. With that said, I do know of a few people who are ex-felons who do have those. Now, as far as being completely out of the jurisdiction of the state, you got to also remember they ain't gonna be trying to hear I'm a state citizen, such and such, I'm a foreign national. They're gonna be trying to yank you back in that jurisdiction because the first thing they do when they look at your records, they see you were in prison or what have you, and that all caps name pretty much they're gonna assume it was you. So that's gonna be a little more tricky, but it is possible to do so. I know of a cat right now who was actually fighting a arm charge pretty much because he actually had his passport and he moved from one state to another one. And when he moved, he actually was able to get an arm with the passport. Don't ask me how because I'm not telling anybody how to do that publicly. But he actually was able to get one with the passport. So let's say he was basically traveling and he had an accident, and then the police officer looked in his bag and he saw the passport and he saw the arm. So he takes the passport and looks at his system and he pulls up the straw man pretty much and he goes around the passport and gets an old driver's license because that information wasn't removed from his system. Boom, yanked him in his jurisdiction. So as soon as he got out of the hospital, he got arrested. So right now he's currently fighting that situation with using the Constitution. It's working out for him, but dude, he's been fighting this for damn near a year now. So don't think just because you get the passport, it's smooth sailing. They're gonna still try to hold on to the adhesion contracts.
Yep. Albert Taylor, what's going on, brother? Long time, man. Appreciate the little love you sent over there, man. Definitely, that's wild. Jump in and say hi. We'll be opening up later on, so hopefully I get to talk to you. It's been a minute, man. Definitely appreciate you. Let's see what else we got here. Keep in mind contract with law and know that you can win every time. Facts. Biggest thing, guys, is learning. We've been lazy, okay? All of us. We've been lazy most of our lives. we were never taught this stuff. We never really went out to try to learn it because we didn't know that we should. You know, we showed up late to this party and we just were trying to move, you know, how it flowed, but we didn't know there was things going on in the background, in the back room. All right, adult stuff. So if you can get your hands on law books, contract books, there's even contracts for dummies. And by me saying dummies, I ain't saying anybody's dumb. I'm just saying we don't know. So don't feel bad getting that book. Get whatever you can, because you know, I mean, you don't have to be a master at all of this stuff, because even lawyers go to school for 7 years to learn one branch, one little avenue of this information. So nobody knows it all, not even the judges or the magistrates. Nobody. Physically impossible. So, but just learn the stuff that you see between our channels and whatnot, and some other people who seem to be on the legit side, and memorize it. Start with one piece, master that, and then add on to it. Don't try to do everything at once. You know, don't try to do 20 processes on the same day. Take one or two and learn them and move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually heard of I talked to a guy who's a criminal defense lawyer, and this dude was basically saying, I told him about the right to travel. He thought it was BS at first. Then I started to show him case law, and I started to show him a whole bunch of other things that pretty much make people believers and such. And he was blown away. He was like, "Yo, how is it that I didn't know any of this stuff?" And I said, "Well, I thought you guys learned about all this stuff in school." He said, "Bro, we learn how to they don't learn any procedures necessarily. They basically just learn pretty much how to win the case itself. But as far as procedures, they don't teach any of that stuff." He was saying in the lawyer schools, you know. So these things about, you know, the right to travel and all this other stuff, it sounds like hogwash. But when you actually start to really break down the case law and things like that, it's all 100% fact.
Yep. All right. You want to jump on some?
What are we talking about?
Oh, any of the questions?
Questions? Oh yeah, let me see what we got here. All right, so Shalom, cover sheet and explanatory statements turned in with DS11. He did his explanatory statement. I did not. So I've heard about people doing the explanatory statement. I've heard about people not doing them, honestly. So it's one of them situations where you know, use your own discretion. It does give you the option to do the explanatory statement. I will say this: if I were to redo mine now, it would definitely be with an explanatory statement because they're starting to change things. As you know, the passport book has been changed. It's a giant card now where your information was. And Badwolf has talked about this, and I've talked about it on my channel. So they're starting to change processes. They've also omitted a section out of the old DS11 talking about the explanatory statements. So the more people are starting to figure out about this stuff, they're starting to change it, you know, and that's natural. So you know,
Yeah.
with these processes, stay sharp on everything and make sure you read and just
S-
fully understand what you're reading.
So, from my understanding, and obviously, you know, guys, I keep everything 100% honest on my channel from the best of my knowledge. I think that I'm pretty sure that they watch our channels. We know everything is monitored anyway, okay, no matter what you pretty much do.
Yeah.
And as we always say, or as I say, when I move, they move, or when you move, we move, or they move, right? So I think originally, especially the way Colonel Wilson used to do the passport, I think you didn't have to have an explanatory statement. But the guy who I got mine from, who first started watching my channel years back now, sent me over his 127-page explanatory statement. Okay, and he was a 5-star. We now know that that's just a risk rating. So, but we also know that the explanatory statement declares your status to them so that there's no misunderstandings or complications. They can see what it is. You get your birth certificate authenticated, bam. Okay, but they've been changing the process now. Okay, and we think, my thought or theory is that when we talked about the acts and conditions section and how to line that out properly, I think that was something that we tripped the trigger. I think that's what you needed. Like, if you didn't have an explanatory statement and you did that the proper way, I think that's what got you the status, as or helped to get you the status, because it said, I have not since acquired have since acquiring U.S. citizenship, and then goes / nationality. Okay, and you would line out everything but the word citizenship, meaning this is the only thing that I'm not claiming. So you're claiming your nationality, okay? 2 months after we put that on YouTube, they deleted that section.
Wow.
They got rid of that whole section, and I didn't pay any attention. I didn't even know. One of the viewers out there said, "Hey, Wolf, you know this is what happened." I was like, "No, they didn't do that." I was like, "I just looked at it. I just downloaded one," and they're like, "No, it's changed." So I went and looked at it. I'm like, "Why would they do that after like 15 or 20 years of not having changed it?" Now, I'm not going to say it was because of us putting that information and then apparently maybe cracking the code without realizing it. But that's my theory. So now it says on there basically um, that not that you have to have an explanatory statement, but they mention that if you wanted to declare or if you have any differences on your status, that you are to use one. So I would definitely use one. I've done one since day one, and when they let me update mine, I'm going to use it again.
Right, right. Yeah. Hey, yeah, 100%, man. 100%. Yeah, there's a few tricks I've learned since then too. So absolutely. 3G says, be sure to read the Uniform Commercial Code if you're applying to any commercial process. Know what you are doing and why methods are effective. Yep. I mean, all that stuff is on the internet. All you got to know is what to look for. But yeah, it's the Uniform Commercial Codes all over the place. People try to say, oh, it's no relation. The UCC connection is another interesting one too.
Yeah. See, they're all bound by the UCC unless they're private. Anybody who incorporates, they all agree to the UCC. You can go to your state secretary's website right now, or state of whatever, and there's going to be a little UCC tab, just a little tiny thing that says, "Oh, UCC,"
Right, hiding in the
and
corner.
you don't realize how powerful that little tab is.
And each state has its own division for the Uniform Commercial Code.
I will
But
say that was it Georgia is the only one I think that has their own version of
what?
the UCC. They do not operate under the traditional UCC. It's either
Really?
Georgia, was it Louisiana, Georgia, one of those down there. They're different. They operate by Napoleonic law, and they do not. They have their own version. It is nearly identical, but that's why I always say on my things, I don't know what's going on down there.
That's interesting.
But
Like, that's interesting, and it's interesting why they don't want people. They won't let people authenticate their certificates of live birth in Pennsylvania, I believe it is, and in New York they give you a lot of crap about it. So it's
Pennsylvania is a commonwealth.
okay.
That whole state is privately owned by somebody.
What? Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah, and New York is the capital of the
Capital
world,
of the world, right? Yeah, I
and
know
that's
about that.
also under its own jurisdiction. It's the same thing we were talking about with if Washington D.C. becomes a state,
Mhm.
and they're going to keep some buildings in their private
Ah,
jurisdiction to be able to operate out of. So I don't know fully the ins and outs. I don't know who owns them. I've been trying to find that information, but let me tell you,
probably the Pope.
it's it's I don't know, man. Somebody with some deep pockets and way above my pay grade. So
Yeah,
long live whoever and whatever friend treaty with
100%,
my
man.
nation.
100%.
Um, man, we got so many questions popping. Q6, man. I don't even know where to.
Ain't no criminal
Uh,
laws in any state, just criminal procedure. Yes, sir. All commerce, man. You want to read rules of civil procedures.
hmm. Yeah, I've been through that one. Um, okay. Live simple, live happy says Winston Shrout didn't file taxes and then ran. It could be. Um, okay.
I guess it depends on how much, because I know how much was this dude making. Like, because I know if it's a fact of you, if you really out there making that kind of money where you tip off the IRS to knowing how much you're making, you're not filing, they're gonna have some questions for you. So yeah, I guess that would make sense. But I mean, Tro got 10 years fed in 2017. I would like to know more about that. Think I would.
Um, well, and then that brings to the point of he didn't do a revocation of election. Okay. He didn't probably didn't give them notice that he was opting out of the IRS with the proper forms. I mean, typically, I mean, look at even was it Wesley Snipes went down on that. Okay, that was one of the first things I did is I revocated my stuff. And some people just go, "Oh, I'm just going to get the form and give it to my employer." Okay, that's good, but sending the head commissioner of the IRS a form stating with the proper Supreme Court rulings and codes that back up that it is essentially a gift, and you are putting yourself, you're letting them know your proper status, and you're letting them know that I'm canceling. If you don't let them know that you're canceling, all they know is that if you're working for your employer's not taking taxes. But if you're making money on the side, okay, still using the Social Security, and you haven't changed that, or you haven't used the foreign EIN or whatever else, then yeah, they're going to ask about that
Hell yeah.
because you're playing with Caesar's money and stuff. Like I said, so
That's that social, man. That social security number.
and there's also the how should I say this? Depends on the where you're making the money at. Are you making it from a private location? Are you making it in their jurisdiction? In what state are you doing business? So there's a lot of things you can look at. You know, did he have an FBO, C1A? I mean, there's lots of things you can do out there so that you're not in that situation. So
100%.
check out Carl Miller. He's a U.S. vet, older guy, very knowledgeable, has a few videos. Yeah, somebody put me on to Carl Miller. I've watched a couple of his things. Yeah, he doesn't have a whole lot nor a really big following, but he's got some good information. I find a lot of good information from the older guys, man. I'll tell you right now. And I don't care what color or what age, really, but I'm just saying, like, you guys need to pick the ear of some of these old timers, man, because they got a lot of knowledge with them, and you know they ain't trying to be around forever, or they can't be around forever, as far as we know, unless they get that magic government serum.
Hey, yeah, how about that? Let's not talk about that. He might hit you with a copyright.
Right, the super serum.
Russell Winbush says, "Shout out to UA6. I just ran out to the mail and grabbed the custom stamp talked about in the earlier show. Yes, sir. Get your stamps, man, because you're gonna save yourself a lot of time. You have no idea how annoying it is when you're trying to send registered mail and you're trying to fit all those lines in that little space they give you. It's better to just grab a stamp and do it. I have a 7-line stamp I got off of eBay. I think it cost about $25. Shipped to my house maybe like 30, you know. So it's best to go ahead and just get your stamp so you ain't got to be out there holding up the line and people looking at you angry and stuff like that in the post office. And you know, if you doing stuff at your house in your own office, you know, you want to go ahead and be as efficient as possible. Sometimes you might have to send out like 6 pieces of mail, and now you're writing the same thing 7 lines every single envelope. You didn't wasted an hour, you know. Can't get time back.
Uncle. We got another one from Russell. Okay, oh, you hit that one. My bad.
Yep.
Action. Okay, let me zip down here. Like I said, I'm just going to apologize if we miss over 1 or 2 guys because there's just a lot popping up here. All right, I think we're almost current here. Let's check out this one here.
Yo, I talked about the living robots.
Oh yeah,
find us over here. Living robots is able to reproduce. You ever seen Dragon Ball Z? Remember Cell? I don't know if you're a Dragon Ball Z dude. That dude Cell was actually an android pretty much, and he can actually reproduce copies of himself. And the funny thing about it is the actual, I don't know if it was a larvae or something they showed. It looked just like Cell in a little container or whatever. It was weird. But yeah, all that stuff is lesser magic. They got to show you what they're gonna do before they do it.
Yep.
This is all what's basically happened. It's all coming true, man. You might actually see a situation where Terminator. You might see the T-1000, man.
They might be walking around us right now. We don't know. I mean, everything that they do in those projects, man. What was it? Ben Rich, I think it was the former CEO of Lockheed Martin.
Yeah.
He said before he passed that everything that you've seen in Star Trek and Star Wars, we have to some degree right now. He said, but they're so locked up in these back rooms or dark projects that it'll be some time before you guys will ever see them. Think about how powerful of a man that is for him to have that statement and actually say it.
He said it right before he said it right before he passed too, because he's smart. He didn't want to say
Right,
that.
right. So yeah, Blaze, you guys can ask pretty much anything, man. You can bounce it off me or Six or both, and we'll try to get at it.
Gee, man, let's jump on this. You keeping track of that Ghislaine Maxwell case, man?
Yeah. I like how they ain't showing nothing on that except for drawings.
All you know is this: a lot of heads is retiring, bro. A
Woo!
lot of people.
Now,
I got a list of heads that actually dropped out of their position. I think it's over like 15 or 20 of them. But
now,
people
of course, we can't prove. I'm just
of
saying,
course not.
but I will say that the people who got their hands on the flight logs to see who's all been going there, if your name is on that list, bet right about now you kind of pissed because
people nervous, bro. People knees is knocking right now, man. People
coincidentally, like you said, yeah, there's been a lot of people retiring, going to other countries, changing their citizenships and status. And I do believe there's a lot of people there. I don't think every one of them were not 100% were guilty of the atrocities that were going on there. Some people might have been there just doing little drugs, little this, little that. But some of those backroom people, and I know you guys know what I'm talking about because growing up, everybody's been to house parties and them things that be happening in the back room.
Yeah.
All right. But those people knew what was going on. I mean, there's tons of bad things going on and different hidden things all across the world. Fortunately, it's all above our pay grade. All I can do is send a prayer out to those people and whatnot, and hope the best. But as far as Maxwell, I'm just surprised she's still alive. First of all,
That's
because
crazy. Do you know the amount of technology they had to put a literal force field like on some Mass Effect type stuff to prevent that from happening?
bro,
Man.
there are some people
Video footage goes missing. People don't recall what happened, yo. Like, bro.
Yeah, because I mean, all I can say is it's kind of weird how somebody who was on suicide watch ended up committing suicide, and the cameras weren't working, and the guards happened to be on a very extended lunch break.
It was on lunch break, right? How about that, huh? Hey, remember when Ivan Vanko on Iron Man 2? Remember when he went to jail and Justin Hammer staged the guards to come and get him out the jail? So they take a cellmate to his cell with the same inmate number as him, and they look similar. So he knocks the guy out. And then he pulls the fire alarm and the explosion goes off from C4. And somebody throws a bag over his head and throws him in a Jeep.
Hey, nope, I'm not even going to say that. I'll say this. Art in movies often imitates life.
Yep.
I will say that. That's all I'm gonna say.
Lesser magic, man. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Yep.
See, for me, like, yeah, I've got a lot of friends in a lot of different places, and the things you hear, it's wild, man. But
Absolutely.
one of the things is it's what we call a business courtesy. It's you got to know what you can say, and then you also have to be able to keep your mouth shut on some things. All right, not everything needs to be said. Okay, that's one of the things behind having power, which is knowledge. Okay,
Yep.
is don't even when dealing with these people, I mean, you don't just because you're in a good position, doesn't mean disrespect them. It's all still business people, and not all these departments and people working there know what's going on. All right, they're just hardworking people out there. Like I said before, I've got friends who are cops, friends who are in the FBI. I've had cops and FBI and people even from the White House who've done work there reach out to me to ask help on status correction and where I found this stuff. I've had wealthy people and poor people every day reaching out to me for this information. And as I always tell everybody, self-govern and treat yourself like you're doing business, with respect. And even if they get shitty, doesn't mean you have to be. Conduct yourself business-like, and the pen is mightier than the sword. Like I said, if you're not a U.S. national, if you don't look over by your computer, you don't see a stack of stamps and envelopes and a stamper. Okay,
I
you
gotta
want to
go
know?
get some envelopes. Matter of
You,
fact,
you guys want to know where to start? Go get you some envelopes and stamps.
I'm
'Cause
almost
you're,
out of envelopes, dude. I didn't use so many. I had a whole pile of them, man. Yeah, you gotta be out there making moves, though.
what can you do up with the mandate? Um, there are a number of things. I kind of talk about some of them on my channel. It's We're not going to go into that right now, but just email me. We can either do a consultation or you can do one with six. And kind of go over a couple options. But there's some things. If you want to start on your own, I would just start looking up exemptions for that. Okay, that's all I'm going to say for that. Um,
Hallelujah.
and because people, it's about reading, people, guys, ladies, aliens, anybody else is watching. You have to read. All right, they don't mind playing ball with you, but you have to know how to walk the walk and talk the talk. So they will stand in their place if you know. Like, how many people out there can really say they actually read the executive order for this? Okay, there's an executive order. You go out and you read it, and it'll tell you in there who's got exemptions and this and that and how to use them. And that's coming right down from the big guys. Okay, but there's a number of different tactics that you can hit them up. So just reach out, and we'll kind of take care of some of that. And just remember, guys, some things you guys ask is more so in the private. So that's a consultation. Um, all right, let's move on. And speaking of which, my uncle out there is like, yep, a mandate is not a law. That is also true. That's very true. It is like a ship's captain basically telling those who are under his direct command and people who are on the ship, this is a strong recommendation. Okay. So, yeah.
100% agreed. Mandates falls under statutes, codes, and regulations.
All right. Where can I find a revocation election? Either you're going to have to hunt. Um, you can hunt them down. I do provide them on my website. I don't know if Six does that as well.
I'll refer you to Black Site 32 on that one, definitely.
Okay. I do have the files for that, and we can talk about that more so in the private, but that's how you get started. So either with the consultation or you can just buy the file right at the site, and I'll send you all that information at your leisure. As always, everything is educational information, but you will find that the stuff that we put on there is factual, and we've done hundreds, if not thousands, of people with all this information. We've been successful. Like I said, they don't mind that we're doing it, but they want you to navigate. They don't want you half stepping. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want you, just.
What was originally supposed to be the case is when we all turned 18, we were supposed to basically be able to manage our own estate. And it wasn't supposed to be, us relying on the government to do anything. And the fact that we've gotten to this point pretty much is because in the past people just got lazy and nobody wanted to do any damn thing. So people kept asking for the government to do stuff and do this, do that, do this, do that. And now we're at a point where we're trying to figure out how to do everything ourselves, and we don't want to be underneath the thumb of the government anymore. The government's looking at us like, well, y'all too good for us now? What's good with y'all, man?
Right.
Come on over here to this jurisdiction and take this traffic ticket. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Then you got people out there, man. I've heard people about getting their non-citizen national passports. And I've heard people, younger guys, they'll get it. This one guy got it, and he went to a military base and was doing donuts in the parking lot. Like, bro, no.
See, that is one of the reasons why, even when I came across Colonel Wilson's info and I decided to do my own channel based on this, and I never expected this many people to be on my channel. So thank you guys for that. But I kind of had a, struggle with what if I was going to put out this kind of information. So I've loved this stuff. I've used it, but in everything, it's kind of like, the Kung Fu Master. You've got a whole class of 100 or say 80 or 90 great people, and then you've got those 10 that you're going to have to end up fighting with your head student. You know what I mean? And so they're going to go out there doing some off-brand stuff. So I don't have a problem with how things have performed, because we have the right, but you shouldn't abuse it. And keep this in mind. If you do something where you're mixing jurisdictions or you're not self-governing and you act as a combatant or belligerent, okay, you will be pulled into their jurisdiction. And
Yeah.
I, like the one guy I told before this, it's no different than if I went over by his house right now and I bricked out his window in his house, he's going to want to be compensated. If I went and did whatever to his lawn or whatever, I was like, you would try to come after me, right? He's like, well, yeah, all right. Guess what? You violated them. You destroyed their property. You did whatever. You allowed them to pull into yourself into their jurisdiction because you weren't self-governing. And going on a military base or whatever is not going to protect you. Doing damage, depriving people of their rights. Self-governing means don't mess with me and I won't mess with you. I'm over here in mine and I'm gonna leave you alone in yours. And if that's what you're not trying to do, then you shouldn't be on our channels.
100%. Yeah, we're actually dealing with a guy right now. He didn't quite go that degree to doing something that outrageous, but his issue was he would just talk to people a certain kind of way when he got pulled over. And he actually ended up getting his passport card ripped in half, and they stole his plate off his car. He had a private plate, and they stole it off his car pretty much and threw him in jail. So he had to get his car out of the impound. His plate was gone. His passport card was confiscated and destroyed. And now he has a court case he's dealing with because of that. So, I mean, again, you got to self-govern, like my man says. You got to be peaceful, non-combatant, all that stuff. You just want to be left alone and just be peaceful. And that's the best way to go, because at the end of the day, like The Art of War by Sun Tzu says, moral high ground is very important. So if you're going about minding your business and you're not doing anything wrong and you're not violating any of the laws of the universe or nature, then you really have the moral high ground with a lot of these things. So already you're at an advantage if it has to be a situation where you need to make a special appearance. You know what I mean? So just keep that in mind.
All right, so we reached the hour, and looks like we got about 72 people. It's been bobbed up and down, so that's pretty good. Definitely appreciate you guys. So we're going to open it up to invite people. We can only get so many people in here, and I'm not saying that all or any of you are going to actually get in, but we're going to open it up to a couple people. And of course, no offense to anybody if you don't get heard or you don't get on here. We're also going to have segments where you can talk for a little while, but not for too long, because I want to make sure everybody gets a chance to have their turn. And but yeah, you guys can feel free to ask questions. We're going to run it probably for another 40, maybe 50 minutes, something like that. And then we're just going to call it a night. And then you guys can catch this, later on, or mañana, or whatever else. So let's see, what else we got here?
Oops. Damn.
Oh, my bad. Did you click?
Yeah, I clicked this right here.
Oh, okay, go ahead. My bad.
Saying doctors are pushing back on exemptions. So what is it? What are we saying? Are we saying that, like, medical exemptions, doctors are not giving them out as much?
So I have a client friend in I think it was New Mexico, who actually put me onto a doctor who privately would, if you ask them, would write you an exemption for this. I'm not going to give out the name and whatever else right now, so I apologize in advance. But I don't want to put that person on blast, because I don't know if they want it out there like that.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get them in any trouble, because I don't know the ins and outs. I just know that, especially if you're asking about this over state lines, I could get somebody in trouble. So I'm just not going to do that. That's in the private. And don't email me on it, because I'm not gonna do that. All right, just a heads up. But yeah, so what happens is kind of addresses one of the questions that whatchamacallit asked earlier as far as exemptions. A lot of doctors, if you just merely asked them for an exemption, they were writing them. Okay. And because there's separation of church and state, it had to be honored by the company and whatever else, no matter by who and what. So the doctors have been kind of nudged into not doing that. So they've been coerced, we'll just say, privately, to essentially not do that. Now, I will give you guys this tidbit, because the question came up. if you speak to your doctor privately and you have a legitimate concern, we'll just say about, say, thermosil, okay, which is a mercury derivative, which most people have an allergy to it anyway, you could inform him of that and potentially see if he would officially document for you that it is unwise for you to experience anything with a mercury derivative. That's all I will say as education.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, did you hear about the guy in Baltimore? I actually talked about this on my live yesterday. There's a guy in actually in Baltimore who this guy was on, he's a young guy. I think he was 23 years old, but this guy actually he was selling medical exemption cards. And the way he was
Mm-hmm.
doing it, he ordered geez, I think he ordered like 1,000 of them or something like that from. Don't ask me where he got these things from because I didn't even know you could do something like this online. But this dude ordered a bunch of them and he was selling them for $75 a pop. So he runs out and they said they had all his text messages, they had all his stuff. He even had a little section in his basement where he actually had what his goals were. So he texts one of his guys like, "Yeah, I'm sold out, man. Our business is booming and such and such." He's like, "I'm about to get 600 more of them. 600 times 70 is something, something, something. I'm about to be rich." Ha ha ha. So he posts on social media, "I got them
Mm-mm.
things for $75 a pop."
Mm-mm.
So he gets on. Get this, he gets on his computer, and I guess he used Google like an idiot, and he searched
Mm.
FBI seizing uh, vaccine passport shipments. So he searches that on his Google, and he pulls up a
Mm.
video. They said he
Mm-mm.
even watched the video, right? And then he searched how to delete my account on. So look, he looks up how to delete my email and how to delete my account with such and such, wherever his supplier was.
Yeah.
So look, check this out. He goes ahead and orders them, and then the FBI comes and grabs him up. He put all his information out there and stuff like that. This dude was literally out there selling vaccine passport cards, and he had to have sold. And they said they got him for mail fraud too. They'll probably even hit him with taxes because if you sold 1,600 of those things times 70 or 75, the IRS wants a piece of that. So this
Yeah.
dude has all kinds of problems he's dealing with right now.
I all I can say is one, he wasn't doing it. Well, first of all, his whole operation was wrong. Okay. He
100%.
wasn't doing things in the private. He shouldn't have been ordering. He probably what he was doing is ordering the actual cards right from the manufacturers,
Oh wow.
because anybody can order materials printed up. The only difference is that they have the serial numbers, okay, and so they know that what you're doing is fraudulent. So like all there it is it's printing material.
That's
But
crazy.
the problem was is he was probably actually ordering the real ones,
Yeah.
and the company just didn't catch on that it was, because think about it, if a hospital or whatever else is ordering them, they all need to have them.
Yeah.
So he was ordering them probably under fraudulent names for a company, and they assumed he was legit and got iced. And plus, then you're also looking at the fact that he's doing it as a U.S. citizen,
Oh my
okay.
gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
And next, it's you can't buy the material is probably either copyrighted or protected some kind of way. So he was just screwed all the way across the board.
They got him for mail fraud. They got him for falsified medical documents. They probably got him,
Mm,
I'm sure they got him for taxes too. There was something else they got him on also. I can't remember what the other one was, but it was hilarious. But dude's facing 20 years.
yeah, it's all bad. There, if I'm not even gonna say it, just there's that.
It's
Okay,
absurd, man.
I'll give you some. I'll just give you something similar but different. Because of my intelligence when I was in high school, the nickname that they used to give me was the intelligent hijacker. Because they were like, "You look like one of those smart mom that would plan it down with a stopwatch." you know, if you were ever going to do like a, you know, bank robbery or a heist or something. And I was like, yeah, why would you not? You know what I mean? So like the whole entire school knew that I was, you know, brainy. And countless times guys would ask me questions on, you know, all kind of stuff. And one guy back in the day wanted me to be a part of his, he was doing, he was selling, he was taking, this is back when the first laser copiers came out, and they were like $5,000-$10,000 when this was the street, brother. So he dropped it on the laser printers and was copying not passports, but bus passes,
Hmm.
and wanted me to be a part of his operation. And I'm like, no, my brother, no, no, no. I'm smart, and don't think, you know, that like the money didn't look good, but I'm like,
Right,
nope,
right,
I'm not
right.
built that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't do the time. I'm not interested. You know, I always look at the worst case scenario of situations, and
Facts,
that's what I
facts.
plan for. And I can't make money dirty. I've made money clean my entire life, and I'm gonna stay that way. You know,
100%.
because
The guy was sending the passports to people in other states too. So he was selling them online, like not just meeting up with people. Nah, he was selling them online, of course. That's how I got rid of so many of them.
yeah,
So, you know, they said Al Capone even the reason Al
taxes.
Capone went to jail was because of taxes. So, like, yo, they said there's a way you can actually file your taxes even through criminal activities. Somehow, the IRS has a way for you to file your taxes even with criminal activities. Don't
Yeah,
ask.
they just want their cut. I mean, I'm not saying I do it or
I
I
get
know
it.
how
I
to.
get it.
I'm
I
just
get it.
all I'm saying is that there are ways to make things clean, and they're not gonna ask too many questions if you file the right things and everything looks legit. But at the same time, like it doesn't take much for somebody to be like, there's a form, an IRS snitch form that they can say, hey, I think this person's making a little bit too much money on the low here. You need to, you know, peep that out. So do it legit, man, or don't do it at all, really. And if you're not gonna do it legit, then you better make sure you got all your stuff taken care of. Because I
100%.
mean, even the wealthy people do a lot of stuff that's not legit or bogus, you know. But a lot of them know to put their money through offshore accounts, or you know,
Trust,
in a
foreign
yeah,
trust.
in a trust of some sort, um, because the whole dealing with them, it's you have an obligation, you have an agreement. I mean, that's what the 1040 is. All those most of those forms, that's all that they are. Those are agreements. You're breaking agreement. So if you don't find a way to break the agreement with the company, the IRS, or change your status so that you know they know how to deal with you, you know, then yeah, they're. I mean, if somebody owed you money, yeah, you want your money too. I don't. I'm not even mad at them. If you owe the
Right.
IRS, pay the IRS. That's it.
That's simple.
You can not like it all you want. That's just like, you know, somebody you're doing business with and they don't like how you move. Well, guess what? We're in a contract. I mean, that's all it is at the end of the day. So don't get into a contract. But see, the whole thing is we were never taught how to get out of it or how to change our status. That's where people are mad, you know. So either read and do it yourself. That's what I did, or pay somebody to show you how to do a revocation of election or to change your status and then change it with them. It's not just changing your status. You got to inform them. Remember, everything that they do in this world is dead. Okay, it's all you're dealing with dead entities. Nothing changes on paper until you put that paper in front of them, informing them of the change. That's how everything moves in their world. If you are a U.S. citizen, you will be 100 years from now. Your body's dead and cold and ash, and they're still going to have your dead body listed as a U.S. citizen. Nothing changes until you put the change in front of them.
Yes, sir. Got a bunch of questions here.
Yeah, hit it.
Whatever happened to freedom of speech? Is it a crime to share informational truth about anything on YouTube? We shouldn't be controlled about what we say or share. 100%. But the way I look at that is, people like to talk about public law and stuff, the Constitution and all that, which is fine. But you got to remember, like the internet is the artificial world, and they created the artificial world because they don't have any control over the natural world. So
Right.
things that are artificial, they pretty much set it's just like along the lines of the U.S. citizen. They're giving U.S. citizen rights, which is not really rights. If they can give you a right, it's not a right; it's a privilege. So the same thing falls underneath the. They try to say fair use and all that other stuff, but at the end of the day, bro, they pretty much set the rules. That's why they can pull your video, for you talking about something that rhymes with "movid might mean." You know what I mean? They can pull your video for saying that. You know what I mean? So that's what it really comes down to. The anything in the artificial realm, they pretty much have control over.
So let me break this down to you guys like this. We don't own YouTube. We don't own Facebook. These are platforms that they allow us to use, and most of you guys have never read the terms of service, the TOS. I have. Yes, I'm a nerd. I read these kind of things, and it's painfully informative. Okay, one day just read any one term of service all the way through, and you'll understand you've given your rights up by applying or registering your information with them. So if you don't own YouTube, it's not freedom of speech. Now, I'm sorry for hurting anybody's feelings on there. I love you guys, but this is how it really works in the cold business world. And I've had to understand how they think and operate in order for me not to be mad at this kind of stuff. I had to get over that. I had to get over myself. And let me tell you, that's a semi big ego to get over. I'm just like, nah, I should be able to do this. I had to zero myself out and go all the way back and look at things from a completely neutral understanding. So we don't own YouTube. You don't even own your account. Okay. You're giving them permission to use your name and to utilize, your likeness and whatever else on their platform, as long as it's within their terms of service that you've agreed to. Okay. But let's take it a step farther. The internet itself, like Six was saying. Okay. The internet is owned. The only way you can be on the internet is if you get your own server from your house and run your own stuff from there. But here's the thing. If you really want to break it down more from there, the information you're sending out is going through other people's systems. So once again, you're transmitting your stuff through somebody's systems. You would literally have to be Bruce Wayne and have, the Batcave and transmit your stuff up to the satellites and down for anybody else to have a completely free your own internet. And you can say whatever you want. Otherwise, anytime you guys access anything, it is through somebody else's jurisdiction. Bam.
There you have it. That's simple. Public versus private. That's
All
man.
right.
They're talking about child support here, man.
Yeah, I see that.
They hit the like button. Please, everybody, hit the like button. Mash the like button. We got 71 heads in here. It should be 71 likes. Hit that like button. Let's do it. Support my man.
Don't forget to support my man A6. A6, drop your channel and drop some Cash App and whatever else, so people can know
Absolutely.
to support my man here, because he's one of the people that helped me promote my channel and helped me to keep going when my channel had like eight subscribers, and he was one of them. So help this man build his channel. All right.
Yes, sir. That is my channel handle there. And if you want, you can find me on here on Instagram. That's the Instagram right there.
Six, I'm gonna let you have the channel for a minute. I'm gonna grab some water. I'll be right back.
Absolutely. And here is the Cash App. In case you want to donate, would be greatly appreciated. I can buy more books, read more, and drop more knowledge. So yeah, that's the Cash App. If you want to donate, send whatever you can. I greatly appreciate that. So let's go ahead and do this then. Let's talk. Let's shop it up. I got the channel right now. I got my passport card and book. Had charged in 1991. That was serious. Got my passport issued May 12, 2021. Yeah, we're talking about the ex-felon thing. Yeah, ex-felons. I haven't heard of any ex-felons getting issues unless you had some charges. And when I say a moral questionality or such, like things like assault, certain types of assault. I don't want to say it right now because for reasons. But yeah. Let's see. Spell alert. Y'all petty in here today, huh? These sluggers use pen and paper, not bats. Absolutely. This is not a war that can be won with any type of physical, violence or anything like that. This isn't that kind of war. This is a war of the mind, and this is the war spiritually and just of knowledge, pretty much. So this is very important to remember when you're doing these processes. You have to be able to have both in tune. You know what I mean? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, hold on one sec. What's going on here? A man said you can't ride the fence on this one. No switching between this so-called state citizen and being a United States national. That is not a United States citizen. Actually, if you look at certain things when they refer to such, they actually do call it a U.S. national. I personally don't like that term, but the Wolf does because in certain things that he reads off and that they refer to you as, they refer to you as a national. Even on I think he just did one video on certain parameters you have to go through at the airport or something like that, or check-ins. I think he calls it pre-check-in or something like that, where you don't have to go through that long line to check in. And the situation actually falls down where they actually offer only that service to U.S. citizens and U.S. nationals. It's right on the website, so it depends on who you're talking to. Again, when we talk about things like this, if we're talking to the IRS, you're a non-resident alien. If you're talking to a police officer, you're a foreign national. If you're talking to, of course, the airport or something like that, you'd be considered a U.S. national. If you're talking case law, you're a state citizen. So again, you got to understand the lingo changes depending on which department or agency you talk to. So you can't just call up to a police officer and say, "I'm a state citizen," and he will say, "Get in a police car," and you'll be looking like an asshole. So you got to remember when you're talking to different entities, there's different lingo you use. You know what I'm talking about? And my man, oh, boom goes the dynamite. boom goes the dynamite. Your words, not mine. I didn't say it. He said it.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, when you use state citizen, you're essentially saying that you are underneath your state's constitution at that point in time. And then, of course, U.S. national means you're supposed to be under the Constitution at that particular time. But there was times in years back where those terms were interchanged, intermingled, and utilized differently. So to each person, you just have to know who you are and how you want to be referred to, and address yourself as such, depending on where what jurisdictions you're either in or nearby. So there's no one size fits all. As always, I'm anti the S word. We don't slang that bad boy around here. So as long as you use anything else that has legitimate standing, you'll be good. You have to navigate yourself accordingly at the end of the day.
Well, interesting thing about the S word people hate to use, the dreaded S word. I understand why people don't like that word. Did you hear Chip Roy's speech today? Well, actually,
No.
it was 2 days ago. Chip Roy released a crazy in-depth speech on the whole entire situation with the mask mandates and the vaccine mandates. And this dude went on a 1 hour tirade and was dropping bars upon their skull. And he actually said the people are sovereign. He literally said this. And there's been court cases to also back up the S word people don't like. Also, I think the people are confused between the S word and the SC word. That word doesn't have a meaning. The SC word, of course, is the subset word people like to use, which doesn't mean anything at all. It's an oxymoron. So it doesn't even
Right.
have a meaning for itself. But the bottom line is, when it comes to, having private rights, that pretty much is what we would call a sovereign. That's basically it.
Yeah, see, they used the S word. Oh, Albert Taylor saying the S word was that, okay, so sovereign. See, the cops tend to call people similar to us as sovereigns because they only recognize in their books, they're only taught about the word foreign national, which is what we are as state citizens, US nationals, American nationals, and such. But the other people out there who are anti-GOV and basically causing disruptions. Okay, they were trying to find their way, I think, as U.S. nationals, but they didn't do their due diligence to see that that's what the Department of State calls us. So that's one of the reasons why I use that one.
Mhm.
I prefer American nationals, which is also on the books and certain case laws and whatever else. So the cops were just like, oh, well, if you're not one of us, you must be one of those sovereign citizens. So they try to sling that on people because then they can justify not listening to you
Mhm.
and ignoring your declarations on your rights and your freedoms because they're just like, well, you must be one of them,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And so we shy away from that. You can we know we have a sovereign ability, but there is no such thing as a sovereign citizen. Like Six said, it's an oxymoron. You can't be a king and a slave at the same time. That's just not how it works. I guess you can be an enslaved king, which would be more so, I guess, what most people are. But yeah, so we don't use that one, and just navigate yourselves appropriately, like Six said, depending on which jurisdiction or who you're dealing with. It's your homework to know how to address yourself to these people because you can go to the IRS right now and say, um, I'm a U.S. national, and they're not going to know what you're talking about. They're going to be like, there's no such thing as far as we're concerned. Our department doesn't refer to that. But when you read the definitions that each one of these departments gives you on people who are non-U.S. citizens, okay, then you start going, hey, that sounds like that definition fits me, you know. So it's all about knowing who you are and knowing your status at the end of the day.
100%. A man says U.S. citizenship is acquired how at the DMV, where you have to lie to obtain a state ID driver's license. That's actually facts. And
Yeah.
I said this to somebody too. I was like, yo, the reason you got to go through all that bullshit is because when you go in and you get a passport and you write you're a U.S. citizen on there, you basically perjured yourself.
Yep.
You basically committed fraud. So at that point, anything that happens to you after that is a result of your dishonor. And like people been so programmed to just accept what they've been told. When you tell them to check off no, they're like, oh, wait a minute, isn't that fraud? It's like, no, absolutely not. Actually, the opposite is fraud. You're over there calling yourself something you don't even have an idea what it means. But that's part of the ignorance. That's part
Right.
of the miseducation, not being taught right. They used to teach civics classes in public schools. I think they stopped doing that in the 70s or something like that, wasn't it? The 70s? They don't even teach civics class anymore, but basic civics was pretty much it was the norm. But people don't even know their rights. A lot of people run around don't even know. Police officers don't even know the Constitution. I've actually heard a police officer on one of those channels where the guy does like audits and stuff like that, and he was like, "Oh no, yeah, I don't have any discrepancy. You can have as many guns as you want. I'm very abreast on the First Amendment." I'm like,
No,
what?
they
No, you aren't. Obviously.
no. See, it's yeah. So yeah, we essentially perjure ourselves on many different things, but we do it unbeknownst to ourselves because we see the word U.S. and citizen or something associated, and we're like, oh, that's us.
Right.
Because the people who own those very words, they did that on purpose. If they said if the true definition of a U.S. citizen is a federal employee operating through or out of or in the territories of Washington D.C., which is not a state of the union, which is foreign in concerns to the United States of America and not party to the Constitution, except for the abilities given therein by the 14th Amendment. Suddenly, people are gonna be like, "Whoa, what? Oh, that's not me. I'm not that." And if they started putting up their flag, which I guess they do, which is our flag, but they put the gold fringes on there and the gold eagle on top because legally they have to have a differentiation between the jurisdictions. But let's say they put up some kind of all black flag with skull and crossbones on there, you're like, that's not American,
Right.
you know? So, but to keep things smooth, which is a game well played, they made these things very similar.
Yep.
And so it was easy for people to go, it's a little different, but it's got to be the same stuff. Anyway, yeah, I'm a U.S. citizen. Go ahead, let me finish the form.
Yep. Boom.
But
There
if
you
you,
have it.
yeah, so if you start breaking it down into detail and actually looking up the definitions of these things and doing the homework, which is what me, Six, and other people like us do, then all of a sudden you're like, whoa,
Right.
and half my friends, when I explained to them, I was like, is Washington, D.C. a state? Then they go, No, it's the District of Columbia. Okay, so if it's not a state, it's not party to the Constitution. DC has its own constitution.
Yeah, 100%.
It's its
Now,
own.
every state, every other state has its own constitution too. A
Right.
lot of people don't know that either.
Yeah. So to get back to what I was originally trying to get at, the you are not a U.S. citizen. Your straw man is a U.S. citizen. That piece of property, that corporation, that Sesta K Trust, that nom de gore or war name is the U.S. citizen. You are receiving the benefits and privileges of forming an alter ego by utilizing that which looks so similar to you. Okay, you never agreed to being it. You've perjured yourself on documents saying that you are, but you aren't, because really, if you were a true one, you would have been born in Washington, D.C., and you'd be a national of D.C., is what they call it.
100%. 100%. Yeah. Did you know about the jurisdictional stones, man?
Of DC,
Yeah.
or
The
yeah,
jurisdictional stones around Washington, D.C. There's
hmm
of course, the 10-mile square. The reason they said that is because in a triangle, actually a diamond shape around it, there's actually jurisdictional stones. They said about four of them went missing, but if you go
yeah,
around in the woods and around certain areas, you actually still will see those jurisdictional stones. They got them on Google if you look for them, but
yeah,
it'll say, property of such and such, and it'll give the year off exactly, and it says property of the U.S. This is the United States jurisdiction. And it actually says it on the stones, believe it or not. This
yeah.
one guy actually has property where one of the stones falls in his backyard.
Mm,
And he was like, yeah, but he's already talked to the county assessor, and they told him, well, technically, since you own the land, the stone is technically yours.
yeah.
And that's their
Okay.
way of kind of saying, yeah, we don't need the stones anymore because these some bitches are so stupid. They think everything is the United States. But I guarantee you, if people decide to figure out what's going on, they'll be like, yo, we need that stone back now. Like, yo, we need it back now.
If they
Now,
knew
bro.
the importance of that stone.
Right.
Okay, so an alternate perception of the same information is that it's either a diamond or it's also a square. Okay. Now, of course, been being, a mason, it's also meaning you're standing on your square. I mean, this is your territory. Okay, this is your, but it's also the fact that it is uh on the river runs through it. Okay, which means their jurisdiction is what? On the water.
Mhm.
And remember, everything they do is what? On the water. It's admiralty, maritime jurisdiction. You're doing commerce on the water. That's why they call them banks. Where's a bank located? Bank's located on the water. Your
Damn, I didn't think about that.
highways.
That's crazy.
Yeah, your highways, your high waterways. You know what I mean? All these things have though their terminology. Okay.
Facts. Great information right there, man. Yeah. Yeah, that blew me away when I saw the jurisdiction stones, man. I was like, yo, how did I never know this, man? So many things they never taught us in school.
Well,
And
they well,
they teach you just enough. They want you to be just smart enough to go to work, punch the clock, and be the energy to keep the machine moving. And
right.
just dumb enough to never ask why.
Well,
That's what
they're
they want you
they
to do.
they are a service oriented corporation. So if they don't teach us how to cook or clean or do our own checkbooks or to, you know, read some of these books and find out what's going on. I mean, and some of these books are thousands of dollars. You know what I mean? There's a reason why they make books thousands or hundreds of dollars, because they don't want you guys to read what's in these books, because they know they're going to be like $1,000 for this book, or pay the rent and get some shoes and whatever else. They're gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna not get the book this time.
Mhm. Right.
But that's that yeah. So they want you to be reliant on their services. Okay, everything they do is provide, and by all means, guys, understand this. I am definitely not anti-GOV. I've got no problem with them. They've got no problem with me. We have a balanced relationship, we'll just say. And understand this: they are providing a service, and there are some people out there who need their services and who need their benefits and all that stuff. The only thing we're trying to do is let people know who don't need their services, either at all or only in part or whatever, that this is what we were always supposed to know. So you have to navigate your ship, which, from their perspective, your ship is your body. Okay, just like a regular wooden ship that the tree will, create itself from taking nutrients and sustenance from the land. So is your body. Your soul is the true entity powering and navigating your body. So you are the captain of your body, your ship. And if you don't put a flag on your ship, meaning claim your nation, your jurisdiction, or whatever else, okay, and remove all of theirs or as many as you can, then you are an abandoned vessel.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not rocking anybody's, name or logos or insignias or whatever else, you're an abandoned vessel. Just like right now, if you guys were to find a car or a ship or anything with no one's name on it, whoever's, possession is 9/10 of the law. You put your hands on it, it's yours.
You know what's
So
interesting, man? After what you just said, you just basically said they were doing operating commerce on the water, which brings me to realize, the perversion of the language even has been pretty much indoctrinated. Like it's either you go to church and you worship, you have a relationship,
citizen ship.
citizenship. You know what I mean?
There you go.
Everything's got ship on the end of it. And you ask yourself why? Because we've been indoctrinated for commerce, man. Very simple.
Mhm. Well,
Very simple.
even birth, to birth something, a ship comes into the harbor and births its cargo. Okay, that's why you got a certificate,
Right.
a birthing certificate. Okay, your mothers gave you life and birth you onto into the world, and so they gave you a birth certificate versus originally the hospital should have given you a certificate of live birth with your hand or footprints on them. Okay, that was your original title into the free de jure American world and jurisdiction. Then the hospital or some lady came in there and then went, okay, you guys want a birth certificate, which the jurisdictional difference, which the law says they have to have the word certificate of live birth. So it's a certificate, okay, that's a jurisdictional thing. Then it's of live, meaning you're living, and then birth, okay. Well, they flipped that. It then becomes birth. Now the word birth is first, so then certificate. So those formats are different. That shows that there's a difference there, okay. Then you've got the fact that when they give you that birth certificate, that's what gave that entity, and some of them, I don't know if they still do. I haven't seen mine in years. I don't even know, but they'll have your birth date on there, and then there'll be another date, and that's the date that the entity was born. The same one with the same name on there, and that one is the U.S. 14th Amendment citizen.
Yeah.
And so that's why a lot of people who haven't been doing the process the right way or shortcutting the not getting the birth certificate authenticated or getting it authenticated the right way have been getting the nasty letter that they send by saying by your birth information, you in fact are a 14th Amendment U.S. citizen and entitled such, and we are not allowed to give you anything other than that. So either admit that or we don't care. Have a nice day.
Yeah, that's crazy. My man says you dock at the banks of shore. Man says, do y'all have a driver's license, ID cards in your wallet? I'm guessing that you do, and you're not alone, as most people are afraid to surrender their card.
Nope, got rid of mine. Mine's been gone.
I don't. I haven't had a license for a long time, bro. So I
Yeah,
don't know what you're talking about, man.
not me. Most people probably here still probably have theirs because, like you said, they are probably a little hesitant to do that. Um, Me, I gave up all mine, closed all my accounts, sent them back the plates, the card, told my state governor, and put it on record with the local county. And I send that information out also with my UCC number and all my documents.
Yeah.
These people are tired of hearing from me.
Yeah, all I do now, man, I just manage the trust. That's all I do now. I just
Yeah.
manage. All I do is manage trust property. That's it. Very simple. I keep it simple.
I see you, Chris. Shivari.
What up,
Yeah.
Chris? My man. My man. My man. The man says, check out the Department of Interior website and look at the insular area political definitions. It will blow your mind. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna write that down.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, we I mean, it sounds boring, and that's why I do this, and that's why I love that you guys support me in A6, because I go to those websites and read them. I've read most, maybe half of the information on the IRS website on their definitions. And let me tell you this, it'll blow you away what they got in there. People also talk about books. If you get your hands on the old school, the original Black Laws Dictionary, and look up words like drive or person or monster, um, corporation, all those kind of words, they got a whole different meaning. Most of them have different meanings than the brand new one I got, the 11th edition. They starting to change. They're starting to say, oh, people are getting kind of wise. They're buying a Black Laws Dictionary. We got to change this stuff
Oh,
up.
they changed a few things, bro. Yo, how about this, man? As far as the license goes, now I know some of y'all probably might still have your old school license, but I did some research and it looks like for a while they've been trying to get people to get that enhanced driver's license. And what that basically is, at the top of the license in the top right hand or left hand corner, the driver's license has a star on it, which means you can only board a plane and use that driver's license for identification if you have the enhanced driver's license. So, with that said, a lot of people were saying, well, actually, I ain't gonna say a lot of people. Very few people were saying in the comment section, they were saying, just get a passport card. Just get a passport card. It's cheaper, which it literally is. I think the enhanced driver's license like $90 or something like that to get, which is I don't fuck with it anyway. But they
Yeah.
were saying, yo, you can just get the passport card for less than half of that, man. It's way better.
See, and that's kind of what I was talking about with the system. The thing that they don't understand is that they could learn a lot of tricks from the mob. Okay, because even though they are like a mob, but they can learn some tricks. You squeeze, but you don't crush. Okay, whether it's your client, the shop owner, or an egg. Okay, or whatever it is, whatever you have in your hand. If you want the juice from it, you squeeze the juice out of it, but you don't crush. Now, by them making that card more expensive, if anything, they should have made it cheaper or almost free. This is what I would have done if I was them. If I was a GOV estate, so then I would be like, I would market it like this. Well, we're giving away the driver's license from now on for free. Okay, because they
Boom.
can always eventually raise the price up or whatever. But let's get it out there with a shebang bang. All right. So it's
Right.
free. You can fly with it. Blah blah blah. Now, to the average person, that looks more palatable than spending $200 on the passport card book and going through the whole process. Okay, so it's almost like they forgot, like, we should make things easier. Don't make
Mhm.
things more expensive and whatever else. Is That's me. But at the same time, if that makes people wake up and want to get the passport, book, card, because the card is only $30. I
Yep.
think the book is like 100, was it 150, 160 or something like that.
Yep. Yep.
So, hey, all I can say is it is what it is.
Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah, as far as that goes, I would much rather keep a passport card on me or a book on me or something like that than to carry around a goddamn enhanced driver's license. Then on top of that, think of how much more information is going to be put on them chips in that driver's license when you get it in the future. Literally, I just shared a video yesterday on my live where they do in Sweden, they actually had the vaccine passports being injected in people's hands.
Oh yeah. It's going to come down to an injection if they're already not doing that. I mean, we don't know on a microscopic or nano level what's encoded on those shots. But what's interesting is that a person brought this to my attention that this person somehow got their hands on a card and it might have been bought from one of your guys.
Thank God.
But they were like they knew that the person, apparently they had some kind of scanner or something, and they could tell somehow that she wasn't vaccinated, even though she had the card. And the guy was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna let you go through, but I know you haven't been vaccinated."
Wait, what? How do? Oh shit. So you think the
Yeah,
cars got chips in them, bro?
either I don't know if it's the card or the person. I don't know.
Could be a
That
situation.
was
She might have been a dumbass and had a vaccine logo with a middle finger on there. So
right. Something I don't know,
you'd be
but
surprised how stupid people are. Oh man, we got some. A man says, you need to talk more about that section of Foreign Affairs Manual 505.2 and endorsements are, and more specifically numbers 8 and 9. Number 8 is for assumed name, and you skipped it.
Mm. Well, I mean, if I miss any information, use this is because I want to put certain relevant things there, and I usually make more videos on the rest of it. As you guys know, I don't make terribly long videos. I mean, even for me doing this live, we're almost at 2 hours, is way longer than I usually talk in a sitting, unless I do like a consultation or something.
Hmm.
But yeah, if I miss it, we'll get to it. We're just kind of keeping things light. We don't want to sit on any one subject too long or go too in depth. We usually make separate videos for that or consultations, but you already have a lot of knowledge yourself, so we can't really educate you on that. You already know because you read.
He need to fire his channel up so I can come in his comment sections and ask some questions. Honestly,
Right? Yeah. Where's your channel at,
yeah, put
Bear?
a channel up, buddy, and let me jump on that joint. You feel me? I jump on there and learn. I read
Yeah,
something
yeah.
that said vaccines are patented and everyone. Yo, I literally said this when they first rolled these out, and I actually had the science. What was it? It was a case or something like that. They actually ruled on where once DNA is changed, it becomes patent. You can patent it. You can't patent the DNA, but once you change the DNA or something like that, it can be patented. I literally said this. Like, so anybody that put that crap in their body is literally owned right now. That's insane, yo. You talk about a way to get jurisdiction.
It's what they call it. It was a DNA software upgrade is what one of the scientists called it.
Hmm.
And so, of course, no offense to anybody else out there who got it. No, no hard feelings. It's just this is just information, so don't take anything personal. If you had to do it, you had to do it for your choice. That's understandable. But what we're just talking about is that technically, on a legal aspect, anytime you have something synthetic or artificial, typically somebody's going to own it because they can't own or patent anything natural.
Yep.
So when they do that, yes, they do have patents on these things. They have to. Now, I almost said the name. I'm not going to say the name. But if you look up those patents, look up those information on there, you'll see who owns them. Okay. And you'll see who owns the testing equipment for them or the things associated. See, a lot of these people are making money hand over fist. You know
Big
what I
money.
mean? Like they'll own the hospitals, they'll own the testing equipment, they'll own the paper companies that print the vaccine cards and whatever else on them. Okay, but you have to do the digging out there. And people might say, well, why don't you want to say the name? Because I don't want to draw that kind of attention. All right, these people
Right.
are, I don't mind kicking around outside of the gates. Plus, at the same time, you guys really need to go out there and do some research. If you really want to know, do some digging. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? That's the whole thing. We're just trying to get you guys your minds adjusted so that you can start to operate your own ships as on your own and kind of wake up and help other people who are trying to get there.
Well, 100%. Yeah, as far as that goes, man. Can you just imagine? I just I'm thinking about how humans are gonna look in the future, like after this whole thing, because I have a sneaking
Mm,
suspicion that this thing is pretty much transmitted through DNA. So not only can you, I think, catch it from the needle, you might meet a woman at a bar who's been vaccinated, and you might go home with her, have some fun, and now you have whatever it is, graphene or whatever particular thing it is in her body. It's a DNA type deal. So
right.
that I have an article I actually got from a woman who actually got vaccinated. She got pregnant and she waited till after the pregnancy to get vaccinated because she did not want to jeopardize the integrity of the child. So she did the responsible thing, of course, and waited until after she was um, gave birth. Now, what she didn't calculate is the fact that she was breastfeeding the baby. So when she was breastfeeding the baby,
Mm,
they said I think it was within a week the baby developed these bad rashes all over his body, and I think the baby died about a month and a half later,
mm.
sadly. So I mean, you got to be careful what you're putting in your body, whether it be that or somebody else's DNA. You know what I mean? You might just make out with a chick, and next thing you know, you glow in the dark.
Now, this is just a speculation. This is just because I read and I'm into everything. So by no means am I saying this is what is factual or going to happen or whatever, but I also study everything from ancient civilizations to aliens to quantum mechanics to whatever. Okay, so in my routes, one of the so-called insiders who works in the GOV allegedly, who was around apparently what we call as one of the gray aliens. When the guy asked him, "Where are you from?" the alien apparently told him, "It's more so when." And he's like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "We're from the future and we're from Earth." And the guy was like, "What do you mean? You're not here now." So could it be that there's some truth to that? Could it be that this vaccine, kind of like on X Files, when they were trying to slip everybody that black goo into the system, that it's supposed to change people? That I don't know. I hope not. But at the same time, it's just something to think about. Like um, gene editing is the future, and they have the uh, patent on most of that stuff, if not all of it. I'm pretty sure all of it, really.
I had heard a theory that one guy said he had a theory where they were actually using this to unlock other things that were coded in the DNA. You know, the DNA was originally supposed to be what was it, 12 strands, correct? I think I'd heard that before, but it's a double helix as of right now. But they were saying that what's happening is there's supposed to be a push to evolve or something like that, whether it be by natural evolution or whether it be by technology. So they want people to take these vaccines to push people to unlock their DNA to be able to do different things. But I don't know how true that is, man. I don't know if I believe that.
Right,
As
right.
far as somebody injecting crap in your body that can damn near kill you, like, and then there's also those stones that are down there down south. That stone that basically says keep the population below a certain amount. I can't remember what the amount was, but
Right.
to
Yeah.
keep the
See,
people limited.
my thing is that for people who want it, that's fine. If you have to get it, that's what you got to do. My thing is for me, and this is just my personal, just me. I can't really say I trust. Well, first of all, let me start here, and then I'll give you the bigger picture. I've got family down south that basically used to poison each other and do all kind of stuff like that. So I grew up not trusting anybody. So period. And then from there, as far as certain groups within the upper establishment, I can't say I trust people who basically forced people off their land, put smallpox and whatever else in their blankets.
Hmm.
Um, they just lost some settlements. I think within the last 15 years, where they were busted testing different gases on people in like Minnesota and other projects that they did on American people.
They got
So
caught doing that in New York just earlier this year.
did they
They had to
see?
come out and admit it.
Yeah, I can't. I
People
just
caught
can't
them. Yeah,
trust it.
yeah.
And plus,
I
for
mean, no,
me,
I agree with you 100%. I'm just
and
telling you what this guy thought, and it's
yeah,
interesting.
and I
Yeah.
was just saying this earlier that uh, when I was younger, and maybe I was young and I wasn't fully paying attention or whatever, but I don't remember like getting like what was it, like measles, mumps, rubella shots and whatever, and hearing anything major about lots of people having situations with them. It was like everybody got them and everybody seemed like they were pretty much fine.
Right.
So I don't know if they changed the process or maybe I was just too young and I didn't really, you know, know what was going on. But typically in those days, they would tell you rather than the news, "Hey, we've got a bad batch of this, so don't take anymore." 5 people died from it or had an allergic reaction. You know, but I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I'll have to look into it a little bit more. But all I'm saying is it's hard for me to trust people that have eradicated other
Oh,
people.
absolutely. Let me ask you a question. Do you know anybody who's completely unvaccinated that never had a vaccine ever? And do you know if they've ever had like chicken pox? Because I have a sneaking
Mm,
suspicion a lot of that crap comes from the vaccines they give us when we're born. It might have an adverse reaction years later. Like you might get a vaccine, they give you a whole bunch of needles when you're first born, and you might have a situation where you might get a reaction for it 2 years later. I got chicken pox when I think I might have been 2 years old. And the way it basically happened, there was a kid that came over and he had chicken pox, and we play with the same toys, and then I had chicken
Yeah,
pox. But I don't
yeah.
know if you never know, man. You never know with that kind of
In
stuff.
in the old days, yeah, they actually used to have chicken pot parties. They would say, "Oh, let's all have the kids come over and get at the same time. That way, we're done with it." And basically, trying to do like a semi herd immunity. Like, let's just all get it. And so they would throw parties. People like, "Oh, your kids got pink eye. We're all gonna get pink eye. You got the whatever. Oh, bring them all over. We're gonna have And they would just get it done and over with. They were like, "Hey, let's just get it all together. Let's get it done with." So, but back in those days, I don't think that they were on the level that they are now, or that the technology they had wasn't up to par for them to be able to do the things they are doing or can do or allegedly doing now, we'll just say.
Mhm.
So I think now that technology's here, they can make things super small. I mean, they showed a camera the size of a rice grain on someone's finger, a full functioning camera.
That's crazy.
And I was like, oh my God. So if they can make a camera that size, and for those people who don't know, I went to school for electrical engineering, technology, software development, and math and some other stuff that most of which I don't really use. But you have to understand, on the head of a pin, okay, a stick pin, they can put millions of transistors that power your devices. Okay, millions of components on the head of a pin that your eye can't even see. So, and this was back in the late 90s, early 2000s when I was in school studying this stuff every day in college. So, what can they do now? Your guess is as good as mine. But
Yeah, that's wild. One can only dream, huh? All right, so we got a few
so,
more comments to take.
yeah, we'll get some more comments. What do you think about another 20 minutes, maybe six?
It doesn't matter, man. I need to get something to eat soon before I fall out. You might just see me do like this.
Well, we're six is off right now.
In other news,
Over to you. Oh, all right, never mind.
you just see the lines that says "stand by" coming across the screen.
Yeah.
Like a commercial comes on or something, like for some deodorant or something like that.
Right. All right. So we're gonna run it for about another 10 minutes. So get your last questions in here. Sorry if we didn't get to you guys. We'll try to answer these last few ones, and then we're gonna call it because we've been on for 2 hours. Reached 85 people on and off. So thank you guys for continuing to watch. That is a blessing. And
Hit the like button. Hit the like button.
we're gonna answer a couple more questions, and then we're just gonna cash out.
All right. Let me see. He says he's been going off on here. All right. He says you're using that magical fictional stuff again, where you're talking about out of body stuff. Let's stick to facts because when you do, you can actually find the answer. Y'all don't appear to know. All right. So look, here's the thing. All right. It's cool to talk about what you call facts, but we're gonna talk about other stuff too because we're good at that. So we're gonna talk about both. So if you want to talk about just the facts, you should probably just create your own channel so we can jump on your joint and we can just talk all facts. But we like to spread the knowledge around in different parts of the conversation. Some people want to hear about these kind of things. Not everybody wants to just hear about that stuff the whole entire time. We did a wide span of information we covered here from one end of the spectrum to the other. So, not to take over or anything like that, but when we let the conversation flow, man, we just let it flow. The knowledge just comes out. And for anybody that wants to do any investigations on any of these things we talk about, that the information's out there.
But hey, yeah, if you have a channel, let us know. I mean, I'll definitely help promote your channel. I'll definitely take a look. I'll definitely jump on there, by all means. There's just so much information for all of us for us to cover all of it and to stay on just one thing. I mean, hey, I'm amazed we have 85 people, still on and bobbing in and off. So I appreciate every one of you guys, for all that. So let's see.
Bill Clinton's apology speech, October 3rd, 1995. Huh.
Yeah, I seen that one.
I didn't see that.
Yeah. they basically apologized for a lot of the wrongdoings for the U.S. did, and it was a pretty amazing. Like you haven't seen it pretty much since. I haven't seen none of them come forward and apologize for anything that they. Graphene will dance and held to the next 5G. That could be.
I saw that 100%. Yo, did y'all see my video when I talked about the technology they were using to be able to control? What was it? They actually have technology through radio waves that they actually use to control components injected in people's body. It was one of the scientific studies or something that was released. I did this video maybe 2 weeks ago. You guys really should check my channel because I mentioned it, and I had mentioned in the Travis Scott concert how it might have been something with radio waves they used to manipulate people's blood or something like that. And I suspected they were using like a higher frequency to get the blood to do something like a dance of sorts. And if the vaccine puts blood clots inside your bloodstream or blood clots in your blood vessels, when that blood starts to gyrate, it gets to the heart, and that's end game. When you get a blood clot in your heart or your lungs, that it's over, or your brain, you're done.
Yep. Did you see how they just started doing these reports on how these athletes have been dying mysteriously?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and in the NFL, there's a record number of injuries right now going on. They said this is the most injuries they've ever had.
Now I'm not saying it's all the shot by any means, because don't forget COVID's out there doing its thing as well, and especially the combination with certain people is obviously a thing. I just did a video today on the what was it, the VERS VAERS site, where they kind of have a compilation of all the people and what's happened to them all over the world, so you can see the numbers. And I know when I had COVID, and I had it twice, and people didn't believe me and all this other stuff, and I went and got tested, and sure enough, they were like, "Yep, you had it," And just as a personal experience, my heart, like, if I did an activity, okay, and I'm very conscious about my body, my everything, I mean, like I'm literally on the spot with all that. So in doing strenuous activities, I could actually hear my heart flutter. I actually could hear what sounded like damage to one of my valves. And obviously, I can't just necessarily say it was proven that it was from that, but I was, good to go before that. And right when I got sick, all of a sudden that happened. But I also had like what they call it, the ghost breath, where you have the blood, you can smell that coming out of your lungs, and all this other stuff that like people didn't know about until like other people started complaining that they had the same things happening. So my theory could be is that if like, I mean, like every day I will be like, okay, take my blood pressure and whatever else, my rhythm, my beats, just to kind of know where I'm at. And if I wouldn't have done that and I would have done something too strenuous, I probably would have keeled over, because there was damage there and I could hear it. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't feel it, but I could hear it when I would, like I heard it was almost like a raspy sound, which was really kind of frightening. You know what I mean? And I just got back on my vitamins, and I continued to exercise lightly to rebuild that, and now I'm back to normal. But I will still say that the damage that was done to my lungs is better, but I still get a little light-winded every once in a while, so I still have to work on increasing my lung capacity. But the virus and these things, they do damage. I mean, that's the whole thing. They do damage, and if you're not keeping your body is I guess tuned up as possible, then you're gonna have some situations.
That's crazy. Unc says a doctor was killed last week because she revealed there's tiny razor blades in the so-called vax, and it affects athletes mostly. Yeah, I heard that too. She got knocked off. I heard a guy, he admitted COVID was a scam. I think this might have been the Middle East or something like that. He admitted COVID was a scam, and he jumped off a building right afterwards.
Yeah. I heard another guy too over in that area, and I can't prove or validate any of it, but he was doing a live and breaking down the information as a doctor over there, and they came in and snatched him up, and then I think it was like about a week or two later he committed suicide.
He got
So
I ain't gonna say the name on your channel. I say the
right,
name.
yeah. Yeah. We no 6. No.
No, I ain't gonna say that. I'm gonna go ahead and govern myself accordingly and not
Yes.
say that.
All right. Well, that being said, guys, we're at 2 hours and 15 minutes. I'm going to say my adieu. So, everybody out there in the Wolf Nation, I appreciate you guys for watching the channel. Thank you for supporting. You guys know I don't do lives a whole lot, so I appreciate you guys jumping on it when you guys see the chance. Sorry, it was kind of last minute. But I just felt like just jumping on. I haven't been on in a while, and I know one of my clients earlier was just like, "You're gonna do live? It's been a while. Want to see some, want to, So I was like, "All right, well, I'll jump on." Otherwise, you guys really, a lot of you guys think that I'm just, I guess, I'm a very private person, despite you seeing me on YouTube. When I'm home or out or whatever else, I'm just pretty much chill and just kind of quiet and doing my thing. I do this for you guys. Otherwise, I would just be at home reading these books. I know one person asked what book that was I had. Once again, this is the Police Misconduct National Lawyers Guild. If you can find it for cheap, great. Otherwise, you are looking at a hefty price tag. But it is the lawyer's version, and it has all of the goodies in it. So, but otherwise, guys, take care of yourself. Stay healthy. Treat your bodies like temples, man. Get the good water, like Six is always talking about. Obviously, this is not health advice, but check with your doctor for taking vitamins, nutrients, and supplements. No matter whose information you get, always do your best to have it followed up by either a physician. Monitor yourselves, and just stay wise, stay woke, stay aware, and continue to check out blackside32.com. I appreciate that. If you don't know about my other channel, which you should, it is the Badwolf Media channel. That's the personal channel where I will talk more about stuff like this on the personal side. The James C. Lovett channel I kind of keep for the business stuff. I know it's kind of backwards, but hey, I'm weird and backwards, so that's just what it is. That being said, I appreciate all of you guys. Have a great night. I'm going to turn it over to my man Six here, and then we're going to call it a night. So you guys take care.
Absolutely. You know what time it is. You know what rhyme it is. It is the foreign national born natural A6. And we were live and direct, live in effect. A lot of information was dropped upon your brains. I hope you were able to absorb some of it. If you're looking for me on YouTube, that is the name right there. Please hit that subscribe button. I usually go live Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. On Sundays. And sometimes I drop videos throughout the week. I usually gather a bunch of information to discuss, and we get busy. So on my channel, I say what I want. It is what it is, and you can jump on and say what you want. It is what it is, and everybody can say what they want and let it be what it is. But that's how we get down over there. So greatly appreciate you for inviting me over here, man. Thank you so much. This is the first time we've done a one-on-one on this channel. I appreciate it so much. This platform is way larger than mine, so it's always good to get that extra boost. I've been doing this thing ever since I started to really see what was going on, which is about a couple of years ago. So, as of right now, we just gathering information. I'm learning just like everybody else is, and thank you, big brother, so much.
All right, guys. That being said, we wish you nothing but blessings. Have a great holiday season. Have a great new year. Stay positive. Keep your minds right, and feed your temple right. All right, because you are what you eat. And if you don't build your temple with good bricks, then it's going to look like stuff.
Yes,
So
sir.
that being said, guys, take care, and we'll talk to you guys later.